I first saw symptoms of my mental health decline, I I was going to work and I just couldn't get out the bed. So I called in sick to my employers. And then the next day, the same thing happened. I didn't realize it was mental health yet until I did it for 5 days straight and stayed in the house. And then I started contemplating suicide, and I did an attempt of suicide. And I knew then that my mental health was declining.
Experiencing my mother going through her symptoms with depression were very confusing for me at the time. What I did notice was growing up, she spent a lot of time hanging out with family and friends and going to events, and then she suddenly just stopped.
Before we received diagnosis, we were extremely close with each other. She would always be right on my hip, hanging on my leg. We were very, very close. We stuck together before the diagnosis. After the diagnosis, it was a little strained.
We were like roommates. We didn't eat dinner together. We barely cooked dinner together. We did nothing together. She was in her room, her door closed. I was in my room with my door closed.
It was very hard to ask for help for my mental health issues because I remember when the children were small and one of the doctors asked me, was I depressed? And I said yes, but I didn't understand what depression was. I thought it meant just being sad. So I said yes, and right away, Department of Social Services, it's called DCF now, Department of Social Services came into my life and removed the children out of the home because I said I was depressed. So from then on, I thought it was a white thing, that the white doctors didn't understand my situation, and it took me a long time to find practitioners of color to understand my situation. I didn't trust the white practitioners to understand where I was coming from. I thought it was, it was a different culture. It took time for them to find the right treatment. They gave me a medication that I was able to hear the minute hand on the clock ticking. So I knew that I didn't want to be on that medication. They changed the medication, and that medication was doing harm to my kidneys. So they took me off of that. Finally, they found something that worked for me. I realized that what worked for me was something to take right as needed. As soon as I started feeling anxious or depressed, I needed something right then and there. Eventually, I did get my psychiatrist is Spanish, and my therapist is black. So I felt comfortable with them, and I kept them for 6 years. But the treatment wasn't easy to get. I didn't want medication, really. I didn't want to take it because all I can think was I thought in my mind, the stigma. People on meds drool a lot. They walk around, they do this, they do that. And it was all because of the stigma. Those things weren't true, but that's what I believed to be true at the time. So now that I know, for me, the medication helps, group therapy helps, seeing my psychiatrist helps, one-on-one therapy helps, my family on my side, that helps, my friends understanding, that helps. So it takes a village to help me with my mental health issues.
Once we got into family therapy, I started to learn so much about her trauma and why she was kind of like neglectful, abusive, and other things that we experienced in the dysfunction. And it started to kind of make sense. I didn't know she was struggling with alcoholism and drug abuse. I had learned that, and it just started to make sense. And I felt glad and grateful that they recommended us do family therapy, because it was like I was able to see her understand her symptoms, and even her progress within that too, how far along she has came from dealing with trauma and so much more. So once we were able to get back reunificated, it felt like a new relationship, something to look forward to. She had her separate therapist, I had my separate therapist, and we also had the family therapist, and that worked for us.
I still get extremely depressed, but not like before, where I would let it go on for so long. Now I can kind of know when it's coming on and try to do something about it, such as call someone, call my support system. If I didn't have treatment, I would stay down. But because of treatment, family, love, I come out of it now.